Friday, 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 Friday. Get in here, all you young kids and old peoples. Marshall is here hanging out. It's more of you chatting in the chat. Oh, look, Marshall, there are some new emotes that you can use. Finally, Friday is being brought to you this week by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. You can show your support and keep everything we have going at Major Spoilers. Well, help keep it going. Point your browser to patreon.com/Major Spoilers and find out more right now. Happy Friday to you all. I hope you're doing well. There's one Ashley Victoria Robinson getting those infamous selfies going on. Ashley, how are you doing today?
I'm actually doing pretty well. How about yourself?
It is finally Friday. I think we've made it for most of us through either week 3 or 4 of this situation, and this was the week that is it week 4 for you? I think it's technically week 3 for us.
Yeah, California, to be fair, shut down pretty early compared to a lot of other states. So
yeah, I did see that it looked like maybe the curve was starting to flatten out there in California, which is good.
Yes, we're in LA especially. I'm so proud of LA because it is this huge, massive metropolis. We're doing really, really well for how many human beings live here.
Yeah, no, it's really good to see that. Unfortunately, our county has its first confirmed case. And
sorry.
So, yeah, it's okay. The only downside is that the wife is a nurse at a doctor's office, and she is the COVID-19 nurse at the doctor's office, so she gets to interact with people who come in with symptoms. So that's...
Oh, so she's an actual hero.
Oh, she's always been a hero. She's been my hero forever. I mean, I say that all the time, thank your nurses, thank your doctors, thank all of the people who are working hard during this time so that you don't have to, so that your trash doesn't get backlogged, so your toilet's still flush, so that you can get taken care of, so you can buy your groceries, so you can get your fast food. The boys were so bouncing off the walls today that we had to go to a drive-thru today to get some food. But, that's probably the hardest part is the kids still have school. And the youngest has so much classes. I'm amazed. He literally, this week, he worked Monday through Wednesday from about 8 o'clock in the morning when I started him on his tasks. Took a little lunch break until about 2 in the afternoon. Like 6 hours of work that he was doing every single day of the week. And then fortunately on Thursday, he was able to get it all done in like 2 hours. He just blew through it. Now the oldest gets all of his stuff for the week done in a single day. So there's some weirdness there, but it really is kind of a juggled session when you've got kids that are on 2 different school schedules, doing all the work that they're doing, needing the help that they need, trying to do the major spoilers and all the other things, classes that I'm teaching. It just becomes at times overwhelming. So today was kind of a let's all take a break day.
Well, and let's be honest, Steven does a lot more than just major spoilers, right? You're maintaining and editing the website. Yeah. You're doing all the podcasts. You're doing live streams. You're doing this. It's a lot more than just major spoilers.
Yeah, it does seem that way. And actually, my personal YouTube channel, I probably put more videos up in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 2 yeyears. So there you go.
Well, you're going to crush the algorithm, man.
Oh, I know. I just was looking at it today and it was just like, whoop, and I was like, Yes, people commenting on your Kermit phone. Kermit the Frog is one of your favorites.
Yes, I actually, back in 2016 when we can go outside, I got to see the Muppets live at the Hollywood Bowl, and Kermit came out and sang Rainbow Connection, and I cried. Yeah, that is always a good song. Sorry, I'm sorry. I've got 2 different audios that I'm listening to, everybody, and the one that is going out to the live stream, I didn't realize that I had not turned that down. So sorry about that. So yeah, it's been a crazy week, but we're all here, and look at all the people that are in the room. Scroll Brian is here, the OG Major Spoilers podcaster.
Marshall is here. Malone is here. Probably a bunch of other people just keeping quiet at the moment. I will point out that if you are a subscriber to this channel, and I know several of you are, there are new emotes, new Major Spoilers emotes featuring yours truly, making faces and stuff. So go check those out. We'll have those available.
Did you make those, Steven?
Yeah, actually, they were the animojis from my cell phone that I just grabbed and put there in the channel. So there's a couple of them in there for people to check out right now. But I'm glad that you're doing okay. You're getting some baking done. If everyone hasn't seen it, you should go check out the Major Spoilers YouTube channel, Major Spoilers Video. Ashley had a bunch of videos this last week, a bunch of great reviews on some YA books. More on that in a second. But more importantly, she did a little how-to video on how to make some limbus bread.
Yeah.
And
gotta get my Lord of the Rings love in there.
There you go. And people just, I saw my Twitter feed just popped up all over the place. People going, oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. So hopefully your recipe has filled the bellies of many young hobbits around the world.
It's a super simple recipe, so it's really good. Like, I think a lot of the things in it most people have in their homes, which is, I started making it when I was about 14, so it was like, I'm not going to go buy anything. And then I'm hoping, I have a lot of out of the house work this weekend, but I'm hoping, I think I have 3 or 4 more videos to send you. I'm hoping to send those by the end of the weekend as well. So if people are enjoying that, there's more to come.
Yeah, speaking of more to come, if you are at home with a kid, of course, there are a bunch of DC young adult graphic novels that are out. There's 12 of them out right now. And Ashley reviewed all of those this week on the YouTube channel. Which one of those 12 is your favorite?
That's tough because I am a little biased. I usually say Raven is my favorite, but Raven is a character who I really, really loved beforehand. I'm a huge Teen Titans fan, and the new Teen Titans specifically. I think Green Lantern Legacy is the most creative and inventive one. I really love that it takes the mythology in its hands and does something super, super unique with it. And then for younger readers, I am completely in love with Dear Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's so funny. I think it's so clever. And Gustavo Duarte is on art, and I think he is an underrated genius. That book is so funny. Yeah,
DC announced a couple of others this week. I think it was this week. Or maybe it was last week. DC, no, it's coming out in end of May. We got an early copy of it. The Video Game Ate My Homework is a new one that is coming out at the end of the month, or at the end of May.
Yeah, they're starting to release originals, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and I slipped that one onto my youngest son's iPad for him to read. Since it's a digital copy, I just slipped it over to him. He's about halfway through it and says he really enjoys it.
Nice.
DC announced a new one today that is coming out in January. Let's see if I can flip this over and keep everybody there. Yep, I think Ashley is still there. DC announces The House of L, Book 1, The Shadow Threat, from Claudia Gray and Eric Zawadzki. I believe
Claudia Gray?
Yeah.
She writes my favorite Star Wars books. That's so exciting.
That's right. That was the big thing, is that she's one of the big Star Wars writer. And so that's coming out, and they shared the cover image and a bunch of other images from the comic that look pretty cool. Obviously, this is young Jor-El and young characters in this story. Yeah, and probably a young Zod. Or maybe these are just, 20-somethings. I don't know on that. But that looks pretty interesting. But I think I'm going to put the rest of those YA novels on the youngest's iPad so that he can read those. Because he's all about the dog cop, or whatever, the cop dog. Dogman, that's what it is. I always forget that title.
Dogman crushing the Scholastic Comics game. That's a great series.
Yeah, no, it really is good. He won't stop talking about it. Every time it comes out, we have to get it. But he is addicted to Captain Underpants. He will read, I don't know how many of them there are, 12 or however many of those books there are. He will read those just nonstop, to the ire of my wife, who's just like, he needs to read something else that's not comic books. And then she was saying that to me the other night, and he pipes up and says, well, comic books are books, and comic books are reading. And I was like, oh, he's learning something. So at least he's reading, and that's the good thing. And he retains a lot of information. But I'm going to try to start slipping him. The next one I want him to try out is Gotham High, to see if that does anything for him. And then I think Legacy, I really think Green Lantern Legacy will be a book that he would enjoy.
I mean, to be honest, the hero of that looks a lot like your two tiny humans, so maybe he'll like it for that reason as well.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. There's another one. There's a book that came out that was highly recommended. I don't remember if it was by you or by someone else. It is about a young Asian girl at a magic school. I forget who suggested
That
it
sounds
to
like
me.
something I would read.
Yeah, so somebody had suggested it to me. It was probably you sent it to me at some point, and I was like, okay, hey, the wife, why don't you put this on his, let's, get this off the Kindle and put it on there for him to read. And he was about through the first chapter, and, he's 8, soon to be 9, actually in a couple of weeks, soon to be 9.
I mean, he's basically a teenager.
Yeah, but he hit the part where, this is a book about girls. Ew, I'm not going to read this book. So he's still past that. But I think he'll eventually come around to reading it because he did enjoy a lot of those magic type books. He hasn't read Artemis Fowl, but we're looking forward to when that drops on Disney+.
I was going to say.
And then he hasn't been a big Harry Potter fan, although I do believe he's read the first book. But yeah, if it's got comic book type stuff, he'll devour that stuff. Or if it's got science facts about sharks or birds or whatever, he digs that kind of stuff.
Well, I can't wait for the time when he's reviewing all the videos, or he's reviewing all the books on the video. And I don't get to talk about YA anymore.
I'm trying to remember. I thought if he could get through this book that I just put on there, the video game Make My Homework. I thought about trying to get him on to talk about it to see if he will, but he's kind of really really shy about that stuff, which I don't understand. But
maybe it'll just have to be you and him, because I get it. We're big scary strangers.
Yeah, I mean, you're not big, nor are you scary, Ashley.
I used to think I was tall, but then I learned.
Same with me. I was like, I thought I was always the tall because I was pretty much average in high school, and even but then once you get out to college and you realize, most people are about 6 feet. They're a couple of inches taller than me. So I don't know how tall is Jason. He's a little bit. He's like 6'1", 6'2", right?
6'1".
Yeah. Everybody's taller than me. Everybody's taller than me.
Me too.
Scroll Brian says Ashley's movie recommendations were very cool.
Thank you.
And Netflix looks like they're putting out a bunch of stuff, or at least announcing a bunch of stuff, right?
They are. Netflix is even announcing stuff that's coming up in development, which is wild. So I'm also going to be, one of the videos that I have to wrap up for Steven is TV that you can binge right now, and trying to give a good diversity of that, not all just like new stuff for people to check out, but Tiger King, which everyone in the world has watched, and I talked about on the Major Spoilers podcast, like that's getting a new episode coming out. I think Netflix has quite a large back catalog, and they're doing a really intelligent thing and kind of front loading some of that stuff. And they just announced that they have, so they didn't announce it, but it's like rumored / confirmed through one site with, of course, no larger confirmation. So like little asterisks, rumor patrol, that Netflix is going to be doing Atomic Blonde 2, and that Charlize Theron is going to be producing and presumably starring. David Leitch, who directed the first Atomic Blonde, mentioned in an interview last year that there was a streaming platform looking for it. Nice. And I mean, Netflix, of course, being the king of the streaming platforms. So
yeah, now
that's a comic book movie.
That is definitely a comic book movie. We reviewed that on the Major Spoilers website. There's so many things right now that I am trying to get through. It's almost seems, I know people are like begging for, I need more stuff to read or to watch on TV or movies or whatever. And I'm just like, man, I'm overwhelmed by all the stuff that I need to catch up on. I still need to finish Sabrina. I still need to get through. I'm trying to think what else that's on there. The latest episode of Star Wars, The Clone Wars is out. And I need to watch that. Now, have you watched the new episode?
Heck, not the one that came out today. Okay. That'll be that's a Friday night thing. But I mean, I'm current up to this point. Ahsoka Tano, I think, is one of the most important Star Wars characters ever made. But I'm with you on that. Like, the thing that I'm watching right now is Nailed It, because they dropped a new season of it, and I'm looking for content right now that doesn't demand a lot of me. And I think a lot of people are sort of in that headspace, and Clone Wars is good for that because it's short. It's not super, but it sometimes it's hard to get into anything that's longer and a little more serious. But I'm on like a Grace Kelly kick right now, so I'm about to watch some older, lengthier movies.
There you go. Well, I'm also in the same spot you are with Star Wars. I was curious if tonight's episode or the new episode wraps up Ahsoka's arc, or if this is going to go another one or two, because they usually go 3 or 4 episodes is an arc, and this would be the 4th episode in that. So I'm kind of interested to see where that goes, especially since at some point she's going to have to reveal that she's a former Jedi, and then that's going to make her new friends all sorts of angry. So I'm interested to see where that's going. I have not watched the new season of Kim's Convenience yet. I have not watched the new season of Ozark yet.
Even this is like the only time that I've watched it before.
I know, right? And it's just because I'm so busy. So I've got that. I still want to watch October Faction on Netflix, which is based on a comic book. There's something else. I think the second season of the Kaminsky Method, is that out?
I don't know if that's out.
Yeah, it is. It looks like season 2, episode 1, or were there only? Maybe when I watched it, there were already 2 seasons out. But yeah, I haven't seen that yet. There's just so much good stuff that I want to watch that I have not had the time yet. I probably won't watch Tiger King until I've watched everything else. So that's the bad
fair. And Tiger King, while fascinating, is a huge bummer.
Yeah.
Everyone in it's bad.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody had mentioned that on Hulu right now, Parasite has just dropped, and people can go and watch Parasite, which again, I haven't seen that yet.
So is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. So if you're like into foreign film and subtitles, that's another recommendation I want to make. I love it so much.
I just had a chance to watch Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which is so touching in a number of different ways. I don't know if you're a Kevin Smith fan or not, but
I'm a fan of Kevin Smith, the human. I would say more than Kevin Smith, the filmmaker.
Okay.
But I'm interested in it. And I know Melissa Benoist is in it. And I love her.
She has a great cameo. So the thing is, this is the movie that came out, or that Kevin Smith wrote right after his heart attack, where he's like, oh my God, I almost died. I need to have a life-altering moment. And this is a movie where they're going to reboot the Blunt Man and Chronic movie. And it's going to be directed by Kevin Smith. And of course, Jay and Silent Bob are incensed about this because they hate Kevin Smith. And so once again, they're making a road trip to Hollywood to stop the movie. Yeah, and this movie gets so meta because not only is it Jay and Silent Bob, but Kevin Smith put his daughter in here as one of the main roles in the movie. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, unless everybody already knows the premise. But it gets so deep and so touching, and it becomes so intertwined within itself at times that you know that this is Kevin Smith being super heartfelt about what it means to be a parent, what it means to look back on your life and everything that you've done or not done, and come to certain realizations that, the first probably third of the movie, I was like, yeah, this is very much a Kevin Smith movie. You can tell that they shot this on a super low budget. But then which is fine. About that third mark where you hit the big emotional beats, suddenly I'm just like, why is my face so wet? All the way through the end of the movie, because it really gets that way. It really, really gets that way. So I would recommend, if people can check out, it's up on Hulu right now. So there is that. Then there's like 1 or 2 more movies. Oh, there's something over at Amazon. Is it directed by Jodie Foster, or does it star Jodie Foster?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see. What is it? Amazon Prime has it.
You said Jodie Foster, and I'm like, please tell me more.
Yes,
Steve.
It is called, where's it at? New Amazon Originals, is that it? In the Loop, that's right. In the Loop is the name of it.
That's like the banner right now.
Yeah. And I don't know if that has Jodie Foster in it, or she's directing it, but she has a big blurb about it there on the Amazon page. And so I was curious what it was and what it's about. So I'll probably want to check that out very soon as well. And then, of course, we've got Trolls, the World Tour is coming out, and everybody wants to see that. And then
will your sidekicks want to see that?
Probably the boys. They did really, for whatever reason, enjoyed the first Trolls movie, and they watched it multiple times, and I just rolled my eyes and left the room every single time. But I'm sure that they will want to watch that. But they're still stuck on Onward. This is probably the 5th or 6th time that they've watched Onward. So plenty of stuff. I think I'm
finally going to get to that this weekend.
Oh, Ashley, it is.
I just watched Frozen 2, so now we can move on to Onward.
So what is your take on Frozen 2? Because
I have such thoughts about Frozen 2.
Because I don't think it was as good as the original.
No. You can definitely tell that it was made in a much more compressed time. Now, they still had 4 years.
Right.
But the original Frozen, I know, much like The Good Dinosaur, was kind of in development hell for a long time. It was really worked over. They had to create a new engine for the snow. That was their feat of animation. And then you could tell by the I thought the marketing for Frozen was so bad.
The first one.
You could tell, yes, that by the time it came out, they were just like, we don't care, just like make this movie. And I think that was one of the great strengths of it and why it turned out to be so wonderful. Frozen 2, I loved they really leaned into this North mythology.
Yes, correct.
That we dealt a lot with legends that are either directly from actual North and Swedish mythology or were adjacent. I wish they leaned into that more. For example, there's a Kelpie in it, but we never call it a Kelpie. We don't explain what Kelpies are or the significance of Elsa having to tame a Kelpie and what that says about Elsa's place in the world. And like, I'm a huge mythology nerd, so like, unless you're sort of like me, then it's like, cool, a water horse, great. I like that we got John Groff actually getting to sing. I think he's a wonderful singer. I saw him when he was first on Spring Awakening on Broadway, so I'm a really big fan of his. But I think that at points it got too silly. Like, I thought his power ballad was really silly, and I thought that the jokes were too meta. Like, Elsa has a joke about watching herself sing Let It Go and being, oh no, that was so embarrassing. And I'm like, why are you insulting the number one thing that everyone loves about the original movie? So I thought it waffled back and forth between being like incredible, and I thought setting it in autumn was so smart. You get a different aesthetic sensibility. The native tribe that we met and the time travel around them and the guards was so cool. And then I thought parts of it and parts of the stuff with Olaf was like really lame. So
that was the biggest problem with the first movie, was everything involving Olaf. I hated that character. Still hate it.
But kids love that character. And Josh Gad is great. So like, hats off to him. So I guess ultimately I liked it. I'm glad I didn't pay to see it.
I am too.
And none of the songs were as good.
No, I don't think they were. I think the only nice thing that I'll say about Olaf in here is he is the little kid character who 4 years ago were probably, 6, 7, 8, and now they're 10, 11, 12, and suddenly the world around them is so totally different than it was 4 years ago. And so all of Olaf's inner fears and turmoil about change and how things were not the same as they once were, really, I think, gives a focus for kids to kind of focus on and hear the lives of our main characters, kind of reflect Olaf's fears about everybody is not together like they used to be. And
he does also get one of the most emotional parts of the movie, which I thought for a Disney movie was a pretty brave thing to do, even though ultimately it gets undone and as an adult that it's going to be undone. I don't want to spoil it, even though that movie's like 6 months old at this point.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I'll watch Frozen 3, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, if there is a Frozen 3, I don't know. Yeah. So we'll see. But Onward, man, it's so good. But I know that Kleenex are in short supply right now. But make sure you have a crying cloth to get into, because ooh man, if my face was wet with Jay and Silent Bob, Onward is just like woo. Let's see. Malone says, if this Dog Man is any indication, Disney has really dropped the ball when it comes to all ages comics. Something like Darkwing Duck was just that, or alter ego of Donald with capes and domino mask. I don't know what he was called in the US. I forget what Donald's superhero costume was, but I would agree with you that Disney does have DuckTales that are out right now, and I'm so far behind on that. I know that
so good,
Darkwing Duck appears in that. I know that the most recent episode, or one of the most recent upcoming episodes, has Goofy, and the Goof Troop is now all part of the DuckTales universe as canon. So yeah.
As it should have been all along, I mean, really.
Yeah. The art style in Dogman is very different. I mean, it's simplistic stuff. It's targeted towards that age group, and so it does that very good.
To be the squeaky wheel about it, like, you can say that Dogman looks like Darkwing Duck, and that observation is absolutely correct, but capes and tights, I mean, they all kind of look the same. They all kind of look like Batman or Wonder Woman or Superman. How many Superman pastiches have we had? Yeah. Huck, right out the gate, we knew was a Superman. So I think it's a little bit tough to be like, oh, Disney should have sued them or whatever. I just think Disney in general is like dropping the ball on comics because they are letting companies like IDW publish Star Wars.
Well,
they could be doing a lot more. I just don't think they're interested in comics ultimately.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense too, because somebody told me a long time ago, and I never listened to this advice, anytime you're working on a project, don't spend your own money, spend other people's money. So for Disney,
that's what Kickstarter's for.
yeah, right. So Disney, had this idea that, hey, let's do the Haunted Mansion, let's do Big Thunder
Some of the
Valley.
Haunted Mansion stuff is good. As the basic white girl who loves a Haunted Mansion, some of it's pretty good.
Sure. But they set up all of these Disney titles, and they're like, we own a comic book company. Let's give it to the comic book company to do the comics for us. And I don't know if there was pushback from Marvel or whatever, but those comics just didn't sell well. What Disney then realized was, oh crap, Boom Studios was probably paying us a lot of money to do Cars and to do Toy Story and to do all those other Disney comics, and IDW is paying us money to do reprints of these Italian comics. Why not just let people pay us to make comic books that we're going to get money on and we're not out? So that's probably the biggest win-win for companies that have IPs that other publishers want to pay them for the right to do that stuff. I mean, that's where Dark Horse got its big start, was licensing all the Fox properties.
And Dark Horse has a good long Star Wars run that is excellent.
Is very, very excellent, right?
Yeah.
Dark Horse right now, because they lost the Star Wars property, which I felt really bad when that happened. But they've been doing gangbusters with video game properties, developing these really cool art books and things like that. So there's if people are looking for table, the coffee table art books, and they have a favorite video game, chances are Dark Horse has probably published those books. But as far as Disney goes with comics, I think they've realized, hey, let other people pay us to make comics that we should be making. So
yeah.
Let's see. Scroll Brian says, I'm waiting until the Marvel shows to subscribe to Disney Plus. Is it really worth it now? Will there be a price increase when Marvel shows join? I don't think so. I think right now Disney's probably locked in. Well, here's
Disney's already one of the more expensive services.
It really is. So I doubt that they will increase it the minute that the Marvel stuff launches, which is coming up in the fall, providing that the current situation hasn't locked down a lot of those productions and stopped a lot of those productions. But Mandalorian is certainly worth it. Certainly they're putting Frozen 2 and Onward and a bunch of movies. In fact, all the Disney classics we grew up with, Brian, are there that you can watch. The Jeff Goldblum documentary is really pretty good.
The Imagineering documentary I thought was fascinating. Steven and I also screamed about the Haunted Mansion on that one as well.
Yeah, no, Haunted Mansion was always my favorite ride at Disney. That's the one I love the most.
Well, last year was the 50th anniversary, so we finally got merch, and I'm just like, give me the Leota sweater, give me the bath bombs, give me the cups, all of it. I'm so I'm so happy.
Yeah, that's funny. So I would say, right now is probably the best time to get into the Disney Plus, especially if your kids are at home and they need things to do and you will allow them to watch shows. The Mandalorian, I think, is just fantastic. If I were to say here are the services that you should probably have, I think Netflix is still number one. I think Disney Plus would be the number two subscription service. Then
also The Simpsons.
Yeah, The Simpsons are all on there too. And then, man, it's really tough to say what is the next streaming service to add on. I mean, we have Hulu, we have Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, I think most people have already, because at least one person in your house has the Amazon Prime shipping. Mm-hmm. So you might as well get the app. And what I like about Amazon Prime is if you are taking the advice that I put in my movies video and you're interested in checking out some older content, you can rent stuff really cheap there that's not streaming anywhere else. Mm-hmm. But Hulu has a lot of day in, day out with like a lot of the Fox stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's tough. But if you already are paying for Amazon Prime, then I'd be like, just get the app and whack it on your TV.
Get that. The one that we have not subscribed to is Apple Plus. Or TV Plus or whatever it is. It's just like, I really saw no reason to launch it. Although I think Apple is trying to figure out, hey, what do we do with this streaming service we've launched? And so they put up a bunch of their seasons for free. What's that? Oh yeah, give it to Netflix. Well, and that's something I wanted to talk about this week, but we're basically out of time. AMC Theaters is in big trouble. Maybe we'll talk about this next week, especially as we see how the stock market rebounds, because one of the big questions that I had, and I think I postulated it before on this show, who should buy AMC if they get in trouble? And my thing was, it should be Disney or Netflix. Well, some things have happened in the last couple of weeks to both of those companies that makes one probably a bigger contender for the next, and maybe we'll talk about that next week on Finally Friday. But hey, look, everybody, we made it through another week. Congratulations. You should congratulate yourself. I think you should do like me and the boys did today, where we just took an us day and just did nothing but veg, watch TV, take a nap. They played their video games. The boy has made it through Breath of the Wild now 2 times. He blew through his second play of Breath of the Wild in like 3 days. But this is a day that is just like, let's relax and let's take it easy because it's finally Friday. We've made it. And let's get ready, take a deep breath, and get ready for next week. Ashley, thanks for coming on and joining me this week. We look forward to seeing more of your videos over on the YouTube channel, Major Spoilers Video. Where else can people find you, and what else is going on with you?
Yes, well, I think Stephen nailed it. Self-care is not selfish, and please remind yourself of that during these difficult times. This week on Geek History Lesson, today we dropped our second mailbag. So we put out 4 episodes in the last 2 weeks. We're stealing the old Major Spoilers model.
Oh man, I love the Groot episode.
Thank you. I'm very proud of it, and I'm very every time couple people didn't like it, they were like, April Fool's in that. But most people seem to be good sports about it. So yeah, Groot, an unexpected hit in these complicated times. Find those, of course, in the Major Spoilers podcast feed. Find me on Major Spoilers, except when I'm not. And please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ashley B. Robinson. The V is very important. I'm doing daily live streams where I interview my friends, and I'm basically making sure that everybody is doing okay. Yeah,
those have been really interesting. I don't always catch them when they're live, but I'll always watch the replays and catch little bits and pieces here and there. So it's really good stuff.
Thank you.
So worth going and checking out. All right, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I know it's 30 minutes, but hey, it's 30 minutes. We're not like some people that are just like, let's pump out tens of thousands of more content during these times because suddenly we have the free time. Nope, we're keeping a slow and steady schedule just for you so that we don't burn out and so that you have something that you can look forward to each and every week right here at Major Spoilers, majorspoilers.com, on the YouTube channel, Major Spoilers Video. And if you could, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Major Spoilers. I said this week. I want to say it again. I am so thankful for all of you who are patrons at patreon.com/Major Spoilers, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do. And I know that at this time, things are tough, things are rough, and I know those financials look really hard. So if you have to change your pledge or you can't pledge right now, I totally understand. But at the same time, we've had people actually step up and say, you know what, I'm going to increase my pledge. Or there was a person who who's been following Major Spoilers for 10 years at least, who has never become a patron, and 2 weeks ago said, you know what, I'm finally going to become a patron. Even at the $5 level, and that's great. So I really want to thank everybody who is taking the time to become new patrons. I really appreciate it. I know Ashley appreciates it, because then I can write her a check and say thank you for all you do, Ashley. And I can all this money comes in and it goes right back to all of our creators, whether they be writers, YouTubers, podcasters, co-hosts, whatever they may be. And so that really helps us out. And so again, thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you who are members at patreon.com/Major Spoilers. And if you can't become a member, again, we'd encourage you to. There's a lot of good stuff over there. But if you can't during these times, totally understand it. In the meantime, take care of yourself, do good, be good, and we will talk with you all again next time when it's finally Friday. Look at all those awesome names. Oh, hey, how about you turn up the volume there, Steve? There's some music for you. Logan and Marco and Mario and Mark. This is a lot of fun, says Marshall. Oh, thank you. Fun, says Cobra. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Brian. I get a secret about how to set those cameras up. Number one part of it is obviously the lighting. The other part is a little thing called focusing, white balancing, and contrast.